"Hey, Doug, great self-tape audition, and they loved you at the callback. You're booked. Have a great shoot."
And action. So I had recently finished watching a webcast about the importance of Facebook groups for casting, and I had no idea. I'd never even heard of Facebook groups. But I went on, and sure enough, there were several of them out there, and I signed up for all of them, and didn't take long, and then I found this Vanguard casting call. So I had heard of Vanguard before, so I knew that they were a really big company, but the whole Facebook group thing, I was new to it. I wasn't sure if it was totally legit. Every time you go outside of the normal casting web services that exist out there, you run the risk of not getting paid or projects falling through at the last minute. So I was a little bit skeptical, but I figured, hey, I'll send in an email. What harm is there in that? So the casting director liked my email and responded and gave me an audition for 2 different roles, the basketball player and the gay husband. So I'm thinking, well, wow, this is so easy. So I had mentioned in my email that I was an assistant coach for basketball in the past, which was true. It's just I hadn't played in a long time. So, I just figured I would go down to the court, bounce the ball around, take a few shots, and get back into the swing of things, and I'd be fine for the audition. That's unfortunately that was a good plan, and I'm sure it would have worked, but I didn't have time to do the basketball part. But I figured I would just have to wing it. I mean, after all, I'm not a gay husband either, so I'll just have to do my acting. So the audition was not at a location I'd ever gone to before. There's basically 2 audition sites in San Francisco that I go to all the time, and so this one was new. So I was still a little bit skeptical, just wondering about the whole thing. But I figured, hey, I'm in this for the adventure. I put on my t-shirt, sneakers, and grabbed a basketball and just went. So when I got there, the place was really nice. So I was feeling really good about it. Everybody was really friendly, tons of other people auditioning. So at this point, I figured everything's cool, everything's totally legit. They had a song. They had mentioned in the casting call that you needed to sing. So I was totally comfortable with that. I love singing, so that was no problem. But they didn't give you the song in advance, so they had this song like playing on an MP3 player in the audition spot, and it was just looping. And they told me, a couple of different lines that they wanted me to sing. So I had to learn this tune real quickly, and then just went in. The girl there was really friendly, and we just chatted, and I got really loose, and everything was good. I sang the lines. What were they? They say I am a legend that you never heard before, or that you never heard of before, something like that. And then, I had my basketball, and I'm just feeling loose, and I took, a couple of fake layups, and, I played it well, and I was really happy with the audition. Okay, so a couple of days later, I get an email inviting me to the callbacks. So I was really excited, and then I noticed in the email the location of the callbacks was at one of the 2 sites that I normally go to. So at this point, I knew the whole thing was totally legit, and I'm getting really excited. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough time to go practice my basketball skills again, but I totally passed during the audition with my just layups, and I figured, again, I could just do the same thing. And typically film people are artistic and not necessarily athletic. So I get there, and I go into the room, and I was told in advance, this director's really cool, very creative. So I was feeling good and had high hopes. So I get in there, and sure enough, the guy's really cool, and we get along really well, totally clicked right off the bat. We're about the same age, so we could relate to just basic whatever chit chat stuff that we did. But he was very athletic, so he takes the basketball that I had brought, and he's like, "Yeah, just do this," and he's like dribbling and going between his legs, and like actually throws the basketball up against the wall, and like almost like a slam dunk. And I was like, "Man, I can't do that." But I tried, and it was awful. So, and I found later on, the guy that they did end up putting in that role was a total, basketball superstar. So I didn't get that part, but I did audition for the gay husband, and I thought I did that really well. And they gave me another line of the song to sing. It's "I'm the man who cooks the food." And that was it, just like getting my daughter ready for school. So, I thought I did that pretty well. But then also at the end, he said, well, we also have these portraits, roles for portraits, just people standing there smiling and doing different facial expressions. So he had me do a few stills, and that was it. So I felt really good about it. But, I shouldn't say always, but most of the time I feel good about my auditions, but you just never know. You never know what they're looking for. But so I felt good about this one, and I left and just had to wait. So a few days pass, and I get the email. It says, "Congratulations, we would like to book you as a featured extra." And so, I was a little bit happy, sad, I guess. I was hoping to get one of the main roles one of the two. I'd auditioned for two roles. I figured I'd get one of them, but no. So, it's just the way it goes. But the thing is that featured extra, I didn't even know what they meant by that. It wasn't on the casting call. They were just main roles, and then there were extras. So wasn't sure what featured extra meant, but I figured my agent would deal with it, and, whatever. I'll just show up and do my job. So the day of the shoot, I get in my Prowler and I head on over there. The call time was 3 in the afternoon, so there wasn't really a risk of any traffic, but I still allowed plenty of time and got there early. They had a parking garage arranged, so I went to that garage, and I'm getting to the elevator, and I notice a guy with a clipboard and a sheet, and I figured he's part of the production crew, and so I said, "Hey, are you with the Vanguard shoot?" And he says, "Yeah." And he acted like he knew who I was, I'm sure he had pictures of everybody, so maybe he recognized me, and he says, "Yeah, come with me, I'll take you to where the extras go." So I said, "All right." And so we went there and got to base camp. I was the first one. I was plenty early, but I like to be early. Why risk it? I blocked out the entire day anyway. So he takes me up to like the 7th floor of this building or something, and I'm just sitting there, and the other extras trickle in, and the room fills up pretty quickly. I see a couple of people I know, and I'm just chatting with people, and then I get a phone call, and it's one of the assistant directors, and he says, "Hey, any ETA on when you're going to be on set?" And I said, "I'm here in holding, with the extras." He says, "Oh." And he says, "I'll send somebody to get you." So he sends somebody, and they bring me down out onto the street like there were trucks and crew everywhere. I guess I had gotten there before everybody, so there was nobody when I got there, except me and this guy who turned out to be the extras wrangler. So there's a lot of action down on the street. There's an RV for wardrobe, hair, and makeup. So they show me to the wardrobe, hair, and makeup RV, and I get in there and change. They do my hair and the makeup and everything, and so everything's happening really fast because I don't remember what time it was, but I think it was past 3, so we were a little bit behind schedule. Even though I was totally early, because of the mix-up, we were behind. So I'm in my wardrobe, hair and makeup done, and then I, get out of the RV, and I'm just hanging out with a few of the other actors were there, and I knew a couple of them, so, we're just chit-chatting and hanging out, and then I see the director walking up the street. I guess he was scouting out locations or, doing what directors do. I don't know. But he comes up and he says, "You ready?" And I said, "I'm ready." And we start walking and we're chit-chatting again. We just really clicked really well. And, I don't remember why, but we ended up talking about like 80s football players, like the 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys. I guess there was a rivalry between the teams in the 80s. They were both great. And so we were talking about that stuff and, just what guys do. So, it was really, really cool. Like we felt like, I felt like we were all just old friends, just hanging out at the bar or whatever. So, and that's good, it keeps everybody calm, and because there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of people around, a lot of money being spent, and not much time. It was an exterior shot and the sun was going down, and I know that they had planned out the light and everything as a very specific way. So there can be a lot of stress, but we kept it together, walked up the street to the location where the camera was there. A bunch of other people were, crew doing what the crew does. I mean, there's no dialogue, so I don't think there was a sound person, but anyway, so there is the big topic was whether I should have a tie or not. So I had a vest and a sport coat. I was clearly a businessman, and at this point I knew I was a portrait. I was one of the portrait guys. So they didn't know whether to put a tie on or not. So the director was calling somebody off-site, and that person made the final call, and they said tie. So the wardrobe lady that was with me, she had like, I don't know how many ties, and she quickly chose one and says, "Here." I put the tie on as faster than I've ever done a tie, and there's a lot of pressure, but I kept my cool, got the tie on, and she like ripped off the tag. The price tag was still on, and then next thing I know, I'm just like they put me to where I need to be, my position in front of the camera. They check the light, they do my hair again and everything, and then the director just says roll-in or whatever action. I'm not sure exactly what, because there's no dialogue or anything, but and then he gives me direction. It says specific looks he's going for or expressions, and I go through a dozen different looks. I'm not really sure. The camera is like, right up in my face. So they did a few different lenses. They tried a few different things, and then they have more options to work with at the end after the shoot and post-production. And I was there for maybe 10 minutes, and that was the end of it. They rushed me back to the RV. I was walking back again with the director and the wardrobe lady, and the director was really happy, and we high five and go back to the RV, change my clothes. They drive me back to the parking lot, and that was it. It happened so fast. That was just my part. I found out later they had, they spent all night. They did a couple of different shots, but that was just my little part of it, and it was awesome. I loved it. I got back in my Prowler, went across the Bay Bridge. It was a beautiful day. I put the top down. I'm just like, yeah, this is cool. So that was my Vanguard shoot. It was awesome. Totally loved it. And action.